Hey everybody, you know who this is? This is the iConis podcast, and we just had a great discussion with Matt DeMarco along with myself and Rod on Robert Downey Jr. being Doctor Doom in the Marvel Universe. After the credits, we still kept talking, and we did another 20 and so minutes, and we did an amazing, in my mind, the ultimate fan cast for Mephisto. So please continue, tune on in. Here's a conversation, and remember, like, subscribe, and share.
One thing we never got to, sorcery.
What?
We didn't talk about the sorcery aspect of it. The sorcery aspect of it was in my head literally half hour ago, and I was like, gotta bring that back.
Show's not over yet. We're gonna go another couple of minutes. Let's do this.
Yeah. I'm still trying to figure out, because of multi-universe of madness and Scarlet Witch, we're slowly going in. So now I can see people be more comfortable with sorcery. Because would it be that type of aspect, kind of pulling from the books from Demon Armors? Demon Armor. You know, what if when at least when Victor and Tony brain swap, what if it's more magical? What if it's magical that got him from one universe to the other? We haven't talked. Barry, you brought it in real quickly, and that's why I was going to come back to it, about him looking into trying to figure out how to pull his mother back from hell.
And I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, even in Deadpool and Wolverine, there was the existence of sorcery and such. I think that, like you said, Doctor Strange is not going anywhere. I'm pretty sure Benedict Cumberbatch is still playing the character. Wong is the Sorcerer Supreme, and his character is a fan favorite. There's all kinds. And Scarlet Witch is the same thing. She has essentially established herself as probably one of the most powerful entities in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
And plus, she's not dead.
No, she's not dead. And we're getting all of the mutants are coming in now, and X-Men and everything. I think sorcery is going to be a massive aspect of this. And to what capacity? Like, is it a matter where they're like, oh, we busted the timeline because somebody got stupid, and now maybe it's like somebody's got to play time cop and and come in and stop whoever the hell's messing with it. Dr. Doom's mussing around with stuff, and they're like, we just got things in order. Did you see Loki season 2? Chill. We're finally getting stuff done here. And I think, honestly, if that's the case, and there's still some of that Tom effery, my big I think that there's going to be a big Loki aspect to this, where he's the one who kind of maybe pumps the brakes on some of this nonsense, because he's also he's currently, isn't he the one who's just sitting there holding things together? Yeah.
He is.
Yes.
And in my mind, that was a great end off for the storyline. But in my mind, I'm thinking that can't be the end of Loki, of at least that variant. There can't be him being so important that once they figure out I guess that was the first half of the time, Kang, we knew that Jonathan wasn't returning as Kang at that time. Yes or no? I can't remember.
Yes.
We did, right? So now you're saying the whole emphasis is now on he who can't be named type of thing. His name, remaining.
Literally.
and now Loki is now the new variant holding things together. I personally feel there's no way in either the next phase, or if we skip a phase, you can't be 2 phases away without coming back to that storyline. Someone has to touch into there somewhere, some way, somehow. That could not be just dropped. No. A big bombshell of what the whole premise of keeping it together, being so integrated to that. No, I've always felt we're gonna come back. We have to come. Have to. It'll be great to come back, and I really want to see something come back to him. Sorcery.
Say this.
This is where it's gonna be. I don't really feel.
We missed this part, so okay, we go a little bit back. So first, I bought a graphic novel in the day. Surprise! I bought a lot of them. When I bought this for a couple of reasons, I bought it because it was Doctor Doom, Doctor Strange, right? Team up. And it was one of those deluxe graphic novels, and the art was by Mike Mignola, so the guy who created Hellboy, right? Because I like that artist. And I'm like, oh, this is a cool read. And the 2 of them team up. Like, Doom goes over, gets, kind of yes and no. He recruits Doctor Strange because he knows some magic, but he didn't know it to the level Strange knows it. And then he gets Strange to help him get into that realm to rescue his mother's soul. That's the whole premise of going to fight Mephisto to get his mother's soul. And then as Strange is casting these high level spells, he's realizing he's like, Boom, you know how these spells? It's like, don't worry about me. I can do whatever you do. And then Strange even says, it's like, hey, Doom is doing all the gestures and saying the right words. Now that I'm paying attention to it, they seem very mechanical because Doom's armor is recording every physical movement that Strange is doing, and the armor is just following suit doing it, and then it's voice recording what Strange is saying to say what Strange is, so he literally pasted Strange, and it's like if Strange was more fluid, Doom was more robotic with his gestures and how he spoke it, but it still worked, which means he learned those spells because he learned them pretty much on the fly. And Doom's a genius. Let's not take anything away from that.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Because if he learned it in the moment, Doom's going to go home and say, all right, let me now practice this for real after everything is said and done. And this was a great story with the two doctors teaming up. And it really, at that time, showed me more of Doom the sorcerer than Doom the inventor, Doom the leader. Like Doom the sorcerer, he's calling out for the bands of Sidorak and he's binding, and he's there dealing with Mephisto one-on-one. And we haven't even talked about that, even though it's called the Doom War. If you're bringing in Doom, as you said, there's science and there's going to be magic. It's like being in Eternia with He-Man. Okay, and you've got to mix of both. And bottom line is, his goal is one, pissed off at Reed. So Reed, I'm coming for you. Reed's feeling guilty because it was Ben that screwed with his doodads and got his situation. And his other motivation is his mother, not his dad, his mom. His mom sacrificed herself so he wouldn't freeze and he would live. And he wants to make sure that, her soul is not like he's trying to resurrect her. He would like to do that, but he wants to get her soul out of hell into heaven, because to hit Doom, his mom was a saint, not a sinner. And that's all he's trying to do. He's not trying to resurrect her. He's just trying to get her upstairs. So everyone's been, for the past year, depending on what the past projects were, we're always saying, hey, are we going to see Mephisto show up this time? And Marvel never gave us Mephisto. What if in the Doom War, instead of coming through a dimension, he's going through hell to get into the 616, and he passes Mephisto, and that brings Mephisto in to a certain degree. It's a Doom War. It doesn't necessarily mean Doom is fighting the Avengers. It's just Doom War. Doom would more likely fight the Fantastic Four, but before the Fantastic Four, he would fight Mephisto for his mom. That's first and foremost on his list. Therefore, if Mephisto comes to Earth, that's a war that Doom may be somewhat inadvertently caused. That's another aspect right there. Just spitballing.
All right. Cillian Murphy as Mephisto. There we go. Let's start the fancasting. I mean, he looks devilish. He looks devious and conniving, and he's got like this uncomfortable stare, and he's so unassuming. You ever see that episode of The Simpsons, The Treehouse of Horror, where the devil was Ned Flanders? It's always the least person you suspect. Like if they get like Henry Cavill to come in and be like this big hulking kind of angry, like no man, like I'm not buying it. But if you get Cillian Murphy, who weighs probably like $150, like maybe he's the dude. Maybe he's the really kind of creepy, like that kind of, maybe, possibly. Because listen, one thing that Marvel I think is one thing I think that Marvel is quite good at is listening to fan casts. Even to a certain degree, like they definitely have their ear to the ground about this stuff. That's how we got John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic. That's how we got, like I'm trying to think of some others that like popped up of people saying like this would be a really good, this person or whatever. And ultimately, like they're at least going to think, because the discussion for the past few years has been Cillian Murphy as Dr. Doom would be really great. Like at least in the past year, that's what I've been hearing. Guaranteed that is been tabled, that has been considered, and unless there's this massive scheduling conflict, they're going to bring him in. They're very good at bringing in hot actors, as much as they are getting like no-name people to sort of create something. Right, and what you were saying about Robert Downey Jr. and his redemption and stuff like that, the one thing I forgot to mention was that Robert Downey Jr. had a lot of time between that, messing things up and then getting that gig. Jonathan Majors had the gig. He got it. Then he messed up and then dropped it. It wasn't like, okay, we're going to get it. We're going to take a chance on you. I think that the MCU are going to be like, let's find somebody who we can either propel, but I think on the magnitude of something like Doctor Doom or a focal point character, I think they're beyond the days of like the 1998 X-Men movie where they got Hugh Jackman to play it and he was a nobody at the time and then he personified the character. They don't need to do that for this. They can do that for God knows who else they want to bring into it. Like if they want to, you want to get a new X-Man onto the team that hasn't been on screen before, you can go find
someone new.
Exactly. And I think that's fine. But if you're going to portray somebody like Mephisto, you can't gamble on it. You have to swing for the fences. And if you've got RDJ playing a prominent role like Doom and Mephisto, like Rod says, is going to be a big part, or Barry says, like, he's going to be part of this, you need to go the reliable route. And in that case, it's like, dude, why wouldn't you get somebody like Cillian Murphy, who seems to fit the bill so well?
Like, I'm just talking about that.
That makes nice sense.
That's, if I had a hat, sir, it'd be coming off right now because there's no, like, I would lose it.
Credit to you both, because like this, I wasn't thinking Mephisto in any way, shape, or form. My Mephisto knowledge comes from, like you're talking about, the sorcery or whatever, when Aunt May gets shot in One More Day or whatever.
Right.
He goes everywhere, including the sorcery path, to try to find some way to fix things, and ultimately ends up, tangling with Mephisto. And if people think that Mephisto is like not a prominent character, like he's up there in terms of power level with Galactus, with Doom, with Thanos. But again, like I mentioned earlier, they're not well known. Everyone knows the heroes. Nobody knows the foils. And I think that that's what we're going to get. So if you can get a really great actor to come in and elevate that character, maybe it's a too baddie situation. Maybe RDJ's Doom is a good guy. That would be amazing too. Like, let's do that. I would love it if Doom was a good guy. Doom is a good guy. Doom's a good guy. Doom's a good guy.
For Doom 2026. I'm still with the Cillian Murphy as Mephisto, because that would be epic, because Mephisto touches with the Fantastic Four, and because of Doom. He touches with the Avengers at one point. He even touches with Galactus and the Silver Surfer, because the Silver Surfer and Mephisto actually tangle at one point, and of course it's because of Doom, right? Like, it was a one-shot special with the Silver Surfer. John Bryan drew it. And once again, Doom's there, Silver Surfer's there, and Mephisto's there. So, you can be behind the scenes. It was like, Vince McMahon. It's like, who was it? It was me, Austin. It was me all along. When it's corporate ministry and Vince McMahon does his big reveal. It could be something so slight, and then it might do like little flashbacks of where, we know the scenes, and it's like, well, Mephisto was actually there. Hold up, this is now changing the whole narrative. Like, let it be that big of a scenario, because if we're going cosmic beings, I mean, Galactus is coming in. We know that. Galactus is cast. We've seen him. He's looking through the window at the Bastard Tower, Bastard Tower. So we know that. Maybe, Secret Wars is on its way. So there's got to be mention of the Beyonder, right? Cillian Murphy, I know someone's got to be cast as a Beyonder, but don't put Cillian Murphy as a Beyonder. Cillian Murphy as Mephisto, though.
All right.
Very nice.
One outside long ball chance that I want to see that won't happen, to play potentially, that would play, I think, an excellent Mephisto, is John Delancey, the dude who played Q in Star Trek. John Delancey is absolutely an incredible actor who plays the devious trickster kind of,
oh my goodness,
foil that Mephisto, in my opinion, would probably be. I don't think Mephisto's the type to be like, here's what I want, here's what's going to happen, let's get to it. He's very yeah, it's exactly. It's a smoke and mirrors, switcheroo kind of. No matter what, I come out ahead. Heads I win, tails you lose kind of character, and that's what I think John Delancey. Now, John Delancey's older, but I don't think that that's gonna matter if you're playing Mephisto. You could do whatever. But the scene that I envision is in like Picard season 2, I think it was, where he shows up and sees that Picard is aged, and he like changes himself to match him and be like, here. Now I'm like you, like sort of to rub it in his face. And I think that that's the kind of, of aura that you want from like emanating from that kind of character.
Aura, that banter, right? Like, yes, absolutely. Yes. Cause that's what sells a character. You have to have a villain, but they got to be a likable villain, as you said before, to kind of say, point.
Yeah. But maybe, yeah. Once you go down that route, like that's the first thing is you just one little straw of doubt, one little seed that you could plant and water over time. If Mephisto could kind of put that seed of doubt into people's mind, the trust and make the kind of deal that Peter Parker had to make to save his Aunt May, like if you could bring in that sort of desperation, maybe it's a situation that Mephisto created a bad situation. He's the only one who could fix it, and he created it so that he can get a better deal by like trading up for something else. It's like, well, I made this, but I can fix it, but it's going to cost you this and this and that. Like John Delancey to me is the ultimate, like as Q, he was such a perfect portrayal of, I'm going to teach you a lesson. You're going to appreciate what you learn, but you're not going to like how you learn it. Like, that's the kind of scenario. And I think that's what Mephisto is. Mephisto is very much like, I don't give a crap what happens here, but you know what? I'm bored, and you guys should learn a lesson. And let's make it annoying. So maybe that's what he does. Maybe it's a scenario where he's like, I want to bring Tony Stark back from the dead. We need him. And Mephisto comes in, and he says, yeah. And then that's where he's like, oh, you want to beat Doom? Here's how we beat Doom. And now I'm Doom. And they go to Mephisto like, dude, what the fuck? Like, this wasn't, it's like, read the fine print, bitch. Like, iTunes can do it, so can I. Like, it's 20 pages, nobody reads it, but it was there, and you signed it. You clicked accept. So, suck it. Like, that's, obviously, the writers will do a better job articulating the dialogue than I am, but these are just things I'm spitballing and throwing against the wall, so.
Listen, I agree in the sense of finding somebody that to be relatable. Like, John Delancey? Again, great idea. Killigan, great idea. Because we've been accustomed now to Josh Brolin being Thanos, giving us the opportunity to say, you know what? This villain isn't really that bad. So you're right. If they find somebody, again, you find an actor that is already known and now put him in that particular role, it will now give them credibility saying, you know what? I can see why this character is saying these things, why this character is going down this path. And it starts to make...
Dude, nobody hated Magneto. Nobody hated Ian McKellen's Magneto.
Beautiful example.
Because you put the right person in the right role, that character becomes likable. It's like Tony Soprano. Tony Soprano is a horrible human being, but everybody roots for him and is okay and gives him a pass because of how he goes about it and because the character and the actor James Gandolfini did such a good job. Ian McKellen was flawless as Magneto, and if you can get somebody to do the same thing, that's why Q was so popular. Everybody's like, what an asshole, what a terrible thing to do to these people, these explorers, but you're like, but let's see what happens. It's like, like if you had the finger on the button to stop it, no one would do it. It'd be like, let's see where this goes.
Let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
Because in reality, just talking about Q as that character, he was supposed to be a one-off.
Yes.
His first time was supposed to be only a one-off. They said, wow, we like the interaction. We're going to bring you back. Just kind of stay by your phone. And then, I think the following season, they brought him back again. And that's when they started to just bounce him all over the place. And that was it. As much as you don't think about Q, you may realize, you may think he's in it a lot. He's actually been in only a certain amount of I'll be nice to say out of the whole, all the Star Trek, variables in that sense, he's probably done maybe 15 or 20 appearances. But I have it in my mind. This guy 15. Went through the whole season. He had he nailed it. He was on the lower deck, and he just came out when he had to, kind of scenario. He was always on the ship. We just didn't see him. But
wow, Rod, you were good because you Matt just checked it. He was like 15 appearances.
13, yeah. 13 if you don't 13. Include season 2 of Picard, where he was a main protagonist or antagonist in it. But in like the syndicated TV show, like whatever we saw, Next Generation, Voyager, Space Nine, he was in 13 total episodes.
Not a lot.
Out of the 300 or 400 Star Trek episodes that were, published while the character was in existence, here he is as a cultural impact towards
100%.
And everybody, 13 episodes. You're in, a small percentage, a minute fraction of
real juiced it.
Yeah, that is it. But that's what this does. It's the same reason why you don't hate these other characters, why you want to see them back. Right. The impact that these things had is immense.
100%. Crazy.
Matt,
good guess, Rod. Good guess.
Yeah. You nailed it, cuz. Rod, that was awesome. Matt, once again, you've got to come sooner than later. Like, the door is open. Just reach out. Let us know what you want to talk about, man. We're good. Oh.
Anytime, man. Anytime. If you ever want to have some chats about Spider-Man, I am definitely a Spider-Man guy. So if ever that kind of wheels up on the radar, I would be happy to join you guys.
Okay, all right, because I like Spider-Man, but I'm all like Spider-Man 2099. That was my jam. Like, okay, like Spider-Man, but Spider-Man 2099. Spider. Okay, if it's 2099, that's my guy. We'll talk. All right, okay. So part 2 of this. Once again, everybody, thank you for tuning in to the iConis podcast. Once again, I'm Barry Carter, Barry 3D. On my side is Rod C. Below is Matt DeMarco. And we welcome you. Thank you for listening. We went through a lot. Let us know what you think. Put your comments down below. And for the second time, this whole world was created by a pencil, a piece of paper, and lots of imagination. Keep on dreaming.
I don't want to say anything because we might just go into part 3, act 3.
Hey, you know what? Avengers do 2 parts. We do 2 parts. There we go. We done. We good. All right. What?